Hi folks, welcome back to the channel and thank you very much for joining me once again. You're most welcome. Today we have another kit from ICM to review. The AH-1G Cobra, the early production version of the Bell Huey Cobra attack helicopter. An amazing machine, and I mean, first of all, the artwork on the box here, another good one from ICM. They have this almost photo-like quality, don't they? They're really, really good. But straight away for me, and I think a lot of people, it conjures up images of Robert Duvall and his black Stetson hat with his crossed swords on from Apocalypse Now. And you think, don't you, of the Vietnam War straight away as soon as you see this helicopter. It's a remarkable and sort of a very clever concept. It's unusual tandem style where you have the gunner and the pilot sitting sort of in a front, one behind the other, with this electric cannon underneath, and of course it carries multiple rockets on its little pylons down the side. Turboprop helicopter, very, very rapid, very manoeuvrable, and also very unusual in the design. When you see them coming head on towards you, it's a very slim, narrow, because of this tandem style. It makes it quite a small target, and of course this is one of the reasons it was so effective when it was actually deployed in Vietnam. And of course it was also used, I think, in both Gulf Wars, in fact, this aircraft, 91 and 2003 as well. Not to mention, I think, Bosnia too. I used it in Bosnia. You'll notice that actually, just giving the game away, I've actually taken the box out because it's one of these box within a box kits from ICM, which are notoriously difficult. And I've got to tell you, it took me about 5 minutes to get it out, being careful, I don't want to do any damage. So I knew this was going to be a problem. I just tried it and I realised it was going to be a pig, so I carefully removed it, and I won't be putting it back in until we're finished. So don't be alarmed. We have it just down by the side of me, don't worry. So it is kit number 32060. It comes with 4 schemes and they're all good ones. You've got this like United States Army style, which is like the two-tone camo. And then you've got several that are the basic green, and various markings in various times in Vietnam. So let's just read a little bit of the background that they give you, because ICM are quite good at this. They're better than others. They do give you a proper bit of read up on the side. My only criticism would be that it's very hard to read because it's black on dark green. A bit strange. Anyway, it says in March 1965, Bell began development of a close air support combat helicopter. It was developed using the engine, transmission and rotor system of the Bell UH-1 Huey Rockwell. I don't know if I've pronounced that correctly, but you know the one I mean, the Bell Huey that was used in Vietnam. Eventually designated the AH-1G and named the Huey Cobra, it began supplying the US Army in June 1967 and was used in combat operations in Vietnam in September. 1,127 of these helicopters were delivered to the US Army, including the TH-1G dual control training helicopters. The serial AH-1G helicopter, which became the base for further modifications, had the single rotor design with a tail rotor, one GTE and a ski landing gear. GTE? You lost me there. The fuselage was all metal, half monocoque type. Cockpit is a 2-seat tandem style, with the shooter and pilot seats one behind the other. So I think I'm right in saying it's the shooter at the front and the pilot at the rear. I think that's correct, yeah. Box contains some model kit, 226 parts. Now this is the 1/32 scale kit and it has been very well received in the modelling community. So I've got a feeling we're in for a bit of a treat. So I'm going to pop that to the side where it won't be damaged. And I'm going to bring in the big white box, which is the, I mean, I do like this this style of packaging that ICM have, because it really protects your model quite well. And you always notice they never arrive looking bashed because they've got this sort of reinforcement of having a box in a box. Now then, let's get into it. Box of tricks. Now then, this belongs to somebody who wanted me to do a review of it when he heard about my plight. When I mentioned the Cobra when I was talking about the other very nice kit from ICM, the Bronco, recently. So he sent this along and we are going to have a good old nosy. Starting with the instructions, and again, and this is what I keep talking about regular theme here, and feel like it's a bit of a replay on the Bronco because it's the same style, it's the same approach from ICM. They're very, very good at this. Nice colour illustration, beautiful box art, some technical details. It gives you the specifications, you know, takeoff weight, maximum speed, 282 kilometres. It's not slow, is it? Maximum sealing, 3,500 feet. Armament, multi-barrel minigun, 40mm grenade launchers and rockets, various types. Now, why cannot other manufacturers simply... They haven't gone to town, ICM, they haven't gone crazy, but there's enough information for you to really get a feel for what it's all about. It tells you a bit about the history. And frankly, that's all we want. We don't expect, you know, war and peace. I know that obviously Wings, they went to great lengths, and even Tamiya did to a slightly higher length than this. But actually, for the money of what these guys charge for their kit, that is enough. That is okay. But, you know, so many of these Far Eastern manufacturers are not doing any of this, and it isn't good enough. They have got to step it up. I'm coming to the point now that I'm going to become very cynical about some of these Chinese kits in particular. I think that unless I see an improvement in them, really, they're not cheap, some of these Chinese kits. Very few of them are cheap. They're not well priced anymore. ICMs are far more competitive. You get far better value for money, for example. And I think I'm going to start taking a more reluctant line, you know, unless I see improvement coming through from these manufacturers. I'm going to be probably buying less of those from the Far East. Not Tamiya, their product, which is usually made in the Philippines, is absolutely brilliant. ICM's is great, and there are one or two others that are doing it quite well, in fairness. Even people like Hasegawa, and you know, even a lot of their stuff is quite old. But what we can't have is kits that arrive that's just, oh, look at that, isn't that, you know, 3D rendering and you know, the CAD design, isn't it wonderful? Yeah, it needs to be more than just that though, especially when you're charging, you know, between 60 and 100 pounds, which they typically are. They're not good value. I don't think they're good value, and this is why I sometimes mark them down. They always have, most of them have very good rendering and injection moulding. It's the actual rest of it that's just woeful. Anyway, rant over. Back to ICM. They're not woeful, they're doing a great job. We've got here some wonderful looking decals. Let's have a look at these. Wow, bring you in nice and close. So you've got your instruments. I'm just going to see if we can actually figure out by looking at this which is which. I think that the small part makes sense. That would be the gunner's instrumentation. I think this is the pilot's instrumentation because there's a lot more of it. Quite a lot of stencils on this kit, in fairness, quite a few of them. Doesn't say who made the decals, but we did see during one of my recent videos, I think it was the Bronco, during the live chat we were talking about stencils, and I think it was a company called ICA. I think there might be a company that's fairly local to ICM in the Ukraine that are doing it. It was either like Ukraine or maybe Czechoslovakia or somewhere like that. Anyway, can't be sure because it doesn't actually say, but we've got some wonderful graphics here. We've got what looks like the Texan. Is that the Texan or is that the Confederacy flag? My memory of the US flags is not very good, so I'm sure some of my viewers will flag up in the chat or comment below and put me right on this because I think I'm not too sure. But there's some beautiful, very nice decals. They're like a satin finish, the decal itself, and yeah, they are quite nice. I've used some of their decals on. I had the ICM T3476. There weren't that many decals on it, but there was quite a few, and they went on absolutely fine. So yeah, they're pretty good, I think. So look at the instructions then. This is where my knowledge of helicopters isn't very good. You're going to find out very quickly. Let's zoom in a little bit for you. A bit of trouble with my zoom today. It's been quite reluctant. Right, here we go. So we've basically got the sprue trees showing you the parts that are going to be used and those that aren't. Clearly there's some other variants coming through. It's got different tails there, so a bit of a giveaway that they've got others planned in the pipeline. Then what have we got? Well, again, we've got the tail stabilisers here as well. Again, several you're not going to use, so clearly there is an alternative that's on the way. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sprues, it would seem. Fifth one being the clear part. So it's not that many sprues, and very nicely laid out there. So into the instructions themselves. Get you in a bit closer, I think. See a bit better. There we go. So building up your seat first of all. So it looks like you've got your pilot seat and then your co-pilot seat, or gunner seat I should say. Then you get the control yoke. Well, we've got, yeah, it looks like, yes, it's interesting. They've got different types of control for the gun, more like a traditional yoke, and then there's a stick for the pilot who sits behind. I think I'm right in saying that, aren't I? I'm pretty sure the pilot sits up above with a better view. And then you've got various bits of instrumentation and controls going in there. You've got like a bathtub sort of cockpit tub there. Instruments going in. Yeah, I'm pretty convinced now the pilot sits at the back, because you can see that more advanced, detailed instrumentation panel is at the back. So it's the gunner at the front, pilot at the back, and off we go. Then you're building up your start of your rotor system here, and it looks like it's the intake and the air filter. You'll forgive me because I'm not an expert on helicopters, I have to say. I've not actually built a helicopter, I don't think, at all. Maybe I did a Lynx helicopter from the Matchbox range many years ago, but that's about it. Oh, did I have a Wessex? I had a Wessex as well. Anyway, this is like what looks like the gearbox coming out of the main drive from the engine. Then we've got the swash plates here, which looks really impressive. Then you start to build up your fuselage size, and you've obviously got this quite an interesting way they've done it. So you've got, obviously, there's, as I mentioned, it looks like there's going to be different variations of the kit. So you've got different tails. So you've got this tail goes on into what is probably generic cockpit or fuselage. And then you got your tail rotor going on there, and then you're putting in your part of the motor. It's just the motor, isn't it? The engine and the swash plate and the gearbox fitting in above it here. Then you've got your rear bulkhead and then your cockpit going in just onto that port side. And then you've got various small components here, which are, what are they? Part of the ejection pull system, is it? Trying to fathom what these are. Quite interesting. Tell you what, it might help if I got some more light on. Some more light. There we go. I'll give you a bit more light. Didn't realise I hadn't put my lights on. Let's just about that. That's a little bit better, isn't it? See what we're doing a little bit better. Yeah, and then finally you're going to bring it shows the jet pipe for the turbo jet from the engine at the back, and then you're bringing in your starboard side of the fuselage there. Then you've got various bits of sort of the side plate, armour plating at the side, the door in fact, isn't there? There's a door here going on the starboard side. Then you get your nose coming in here, which is quite intricate, isn't it? There's quite a lot of parts there actually. Then you've got the sort of the underside of the main fuselage, and there are a couple of variants here, so it's just a watch out to use the right one. And then you've got the sort of frontal bulkhead underside here of the actual underneath the cockpit where the armour plating goes. And then you're building up your cannon. Now there's two versions, there's two variants. So you've got a twin cannon or a single one, which is interesting. That twin one looks good, doesn't it? I think I might go for that. It depends on which variant you want, from which version, because they're at the back, aren't they? Does it tell us which is the twin cannon? Does it tell us? Yes or no? So I'm just flicking to the back to try and get my head around that. It isn't terribly clear. I think the later one is the twin cannon version. But anyway, all will become clearer, I think, when you read through it in sequence. I like the twin cannon. I've got to say that yeah. But it's great that you've got the option. And then you've got the sort of the blast heat-resistant ring at the back of the jet exhaust. You've got your tips for your tail going on. Then you've got your side stabilisers and pylons for the side where the weapons are going to be mounted here, which looks very good. They've got sway braces and everything. Okay. So the side fins going on and your side pylons going on just under the... You see how they mount those pretty much on the centre of gravity, can't you? Or thereabouts. And then you've got a couple of little lights going on the rear. Looks like some attachment hooks underneath. The hooks or the lights? It's quite hard to tell. And it's turning into quite a meaty looking little helicopter, this. And then you've got your skids going on underneath. And then finally you start to build this sort of glass house cockpit, and you start off with the roof, interestingly. So it's the roof first, and then you've got opening side windows that come on second. Here and here. And they can be propped up, which I think look great in diorama. I should just say as well, by the way, that I'm pretty sure that ICM have got some figures for these. You can buy separate figures for these choppers. Pity it doesn't come in the kit. It's one small criticism. Might lose half a point for that. But there is some figures available, I think. I think they do some at 48. I think there's some at 32nd. I think. Need to check that. I know there's definitely some at 48 coming out. But yeah, that would be great if you could have a bit of a diorama set, maybe with a Jeep or something in front, you know. A couple of figures. Could be quite impressive, couldn't it? Anyway, moving on, we've got the side panels that go over the engine. Let's bring you in so you can see a bit better. Side panels that cover the engine just there, just above the pylons. And then you do the port side, then you do the same on the starboard side. It's like access panels in actual fact, aren't they? And then you start with the actual rotor blades themselves. Big old meaty rotor blade on the Huey Cobra. And you're finishing off your swash plate detail that goes on the top. And obviously that alters the pitch of the actual the blade itself. And your servo controls, which actuators, if you like, that control the swash plates. And then you've basically got the mounting point where it's going to mount the whole assembly of the rotor onto the top, into the gearbox at the top of the engine. And you pop that in there, and it's starting to look already like a right meaty looking helicopter here. You've got wheels as well that fit on the skid, so it can land on its wheels, which obviously enable a rolling takeoff, shall we say. I like the way that ICM do show both sides, you know. They don't just have an arrow showing it to the other side, they show you it from both angles so you know exactly how it should go in. And then there's actually a towing cradle assembly, which is for towing the vehicle around the airfield, probably with a Jeep or something similar, maybe a truck, I don't know. And that's really good that they've included that, actually, because that didn't, strictly speaking, wasn't necessary, was it? It's quite a nice addition that they've included here, this towing system. Then we're on to the weapons, and we've got like a pepper pot rocket launcher. This is napalm, I think, napalm canister. Then we've got, looks like Zuni rockets, and some other form of similar Zuni type rocket here as well. And that's it. And then it gives you the different loadout, very like the Bronco in this respect. It gives you the different loadouts under the pylons, telling you which options to have with which. You've got, again, similar to the Bronco, you've got these mask templates where you have to cut your own out. And now this is pretty big, so you're going to need some fairly big kabuki tape to make this work. So just be aware. Yeah, I'd be very tempted on this one because it's going to be a bit more fiddly. I think I might consider just going out and getting an aftermarket masking set, I think would make a lot more sense, because otherwise you're going to have to do a lot of faffing around this unless you've got some very wide tape. Could be tricky. And then it finishes off really with just the different schemes. It's not that well represented in terms of the... It's very dark, this. It's quite hard for your eye to pick up any detail. It's really hard. And I've got my best glasses on at the moment. I think you'll see what I mean if I zoom you in. It looks like it's black on white. It's actually dark green, of course. But you see what I mean? It's quite hard to make out any sort of detail there. It's just a sort of a silhouette effect, isn't it? Anyway, tells you what colours your various parts need to be, and you've got the Blue Max 2nd Battalion. It doesn't say where they're based. Unfortunately, it doesn't say where any of them are based, which is a bit of a shame. The second one is Cobra Net. Cobra Net? I don't know that one. Then you've got the 2nd Battalion 20th Artillery Regiment. This is the one that's the 1st Cavalry Division, Air Mobile. Excuse me, very much Apocalypse Now style, isn't it? Air Mobile, Air Cav. And then on the back, the one that's got the Texas or Confederacy flag. Confederacy, isn't it? Pretty sure it's Confederacy, isn't it? Because it was on the General Lee in the Dukes of Hazzard. And that's Dab Ting. It does tell you where that one is, so I don't know why the others are not shown, but there we have it. So, I've never seen this kit before in detail. I've never had my hands on it before, so this is going to be very interesting. I have to say, instructions are, you know, one or two little grumbles, but nothing I'd really moan about too much. Overall, very good, pretty clear, nicely explaining things pretty well. Just need to watch it when they're printing with a white background. Not sure about that. Here we have a completely fresh bag. Resealable, I think. Yes, it is resealable. Here we go then. Open for the first time, I think. This is actually nicer resealability to it than the others seem to have. On the Bronco, it's sort of left a residue behind. This one isn't doing that, which is always good. There we go. One bag. Just to put it in several bags, if I'm honest. Others do. Right there. Let's have a look at what we have there. So I think there's 5, aren't there, total? First thing you notice, it is big. It's big. It's a monster. Oh my goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's actually 5 plus the clear, so 6 in total. But I think is one repeated? Yeah, okay, there's 5 different designs. Because one's repeated, we have it twice. So, let's start with the big honking fuselage. Look at the size of this thing, it's absolutely enormous. It's a really meaty looking thing, but the plastic looks brilliant. Look at this. Now then, get my zoom to work. The battery must be going. It's gone very slow today. Look at this. We've got vents here, grill. You've got cutouts. You've got access panels. You've got rivets, and it's really nice. So you've got recess detail, recess rivets, and then here you've got raised rivets. Just like the real aircraft, because that's what they're like, and they're very, very pronounced on the tail because it uses big, for strength it has really chunky rivets, you know, they're probably about 1 inch wide, the rivets, in real life. That's really nice, look at that, and the finish is this beautiful satiny plastic, which always seems to take the paint well. That's grand, it really is. Down here you've got this bulkhead, just behind the cockpit tub. Here we have our 2 seats, pilot and gunner. Whoops, pilot and gunner, there we go. Then we've got the cockpit tub itself here. And it's quite sharply moulded, good detail here. Very nice, like it a lot actually. And you've got this the fairing around the top of the sort of engine mounting area, really nicely done. That is really, really good, I've got to say. Very few ejector pins, very few, and they're all in places where they won't be seen. That's amazing. That's a really nice. Look on the other side, actually, just on the starboard side, because it's not identical. It's not totally symmetrical. It's asymmetrical. But the grills here, cooling grill, I think, from the engine compartment. And again, all this recessed detail, and then as soon as you get to the tail, it's all raised rivets, real chunky ones. Absolutely beautiful, that is. Like it, that's a great start. Now then, second one. I'm slightly nervous about zooming at the moment because we seem to be having this zoom issue, but we will persevere and do our best for you. Now then, here we go. Some big parts here. So we've got the rotors, which are in two halves. Not sure what the joint will be like, we shall see. And then we've got the stabilisation fins on the tail, and we've got the tail itself, and then you've got these two different versions I mentioned. I think I'm right in saying that it's this version used, not the inner one. And then we've got panels, we've got the gun turrets, bring you in. The gun turrets, look at this. That's the single gun turret. And this is the twin one. Very nicely detailed. Look at the detail on these tails. You've got these, again, recessed panel lines, but raised rivets. So it's really realistic. Fantastic detail there. Same on the port side. Absolutely stellar. And off at the top you've got, oh, it looks like we've got the, yeah, that's the tail rotor. It's in one piece, which is very nicely moulded, and again there's some fairly chunky rivets on the sort of bracing section at the centre, just as it goes onto the actual rotor itself. And then we've got the main rotors, as you can see, and they're quite thin. Got some great detail here. Look at that. You see how they've got this sort of reinforcing. It's got like layers of reinforcement to give the sort of rigidity to the blade. That is very, very good. Like it, like it. Not seen anything I don't like at all so far. And now another big sprue, and on here we've got two different variants. Now I'm not sure which is the right one for the early, although I suspect it is this one. And you've got these various stabilisation fins. Again, one set won't be used and one set will be used. This is the underneath of the fuselage, and again we've got some great panel lining, raised detail, recessed lines, raised rivets, absolutely as is authentic. That's really nice. Yeah. And it's so crisply moulded as well. I mean, look at this here, this it's part of the exhaust system, I think, isn't it, here? It's got this very fine, crisp moulding to it. Here's your instrument panel over here. Which again looks very, very sharp. That's where obviously your decal goes on there. It's got some really good fine relief to it. Very nice, I've got to say. It's stunning, really. No flash, no nonsense, nothing bad. So, finally, we've just got a couple to go, and I've now onto the weapons. So, let's bring you out for this one. So here we've got all the various weapons. We've got the napalm canister, rather ominously here, and you've got various pepper pot style rocket launcher pods here. And here you've actually got the rockets that are almost like a series of barrels just strapped together in effect, aren't they? And then you've got your landing gear there, wheels and tyres. which is very nicely done actually. So they sort of go through. You put this, turn this round here, these two, and they go over here, over the hub, which will give it quite a nice three-dimensional look, I think. And that's going to make it easier to paint probably as well. And then you've got your Zuni rocket tubes here, big tubes. Yeah, and then you've got the rear of these rockets, if you can make this out. We've got the rear end where the sort of tabs are. When they sort of arm them, they pull the tab out, and that's the front obviously here. That's the rear here. Absolutely amazing, brilliant, so well moulded, brilliant. On the other side you've got this other design at the nose of the rockets, the Zuni rockets pointing out. Very, very nice. It's a nice kit. Here's your Gatling gun, one of them. How many are there? Obviously there are only two supplied, but you have a choice of two or just single. So they supply one in each sprue. And if you look at that, it's kind of, is it slide moulded? I think it is. Let's just have a little look at this. Here, where my finger is. See the barrel at the end of the barrels? That's quite nicely done, isn't it? I'm sure the camera's getting this properly. Yeah, there we go. That's really, really cool. Yeah. It's like a hollow end appearance anyway. Well, it's pretty good. And then finally, last but not least, we have got the clear parts. Again in a nice resealable bag which we'll open. And let's have a look at these now. I thought there was a mark on the Bronco. Big mark on these. It's like a shadow, isn't it? Interestingly, I think it's on the outside. It's probably just a mark from the mould. Another one there as well. Bring you in, see if you can see these. I mean, they're very bright and crisp looking. It's just a faint line here. And there's a little shadow on this one. Seems to be. I think that's a mole mark. Yeah, it's not coming off. I think that'll polish out though. It's just on the surface. I think I'll literally polish off with a little bit of polishing compound. Even the fine stuff, will probably get rid of that. Just a little swipe of it and it'll be gone. But the shaping looks amazing. Look at the profile of this roof of the actual cockpit canopy. It's fantastic, isn't it? And did these have an ejector seat? I think they were. Yeah, they are ejector seats in these, so they could eject. And so obviously they would shatter. This obviously would shatter. I'm not quite sure how it works because there's no obvious detonation cord. But anyway, there we go. Yeah, it just does indicate to me that perhaps if there's one area that ICM need to work on a little bit, they might want to be a bit more careful with maybe the housekeeping on the moulds on the clear parts, because it does tend to look. A couple of times now we've seen their kits and there's been just faint little marks here and there. That's actually much more minor and less of a worry than the one on the Bronco. So not a concern. So you'll just polish off. It's probably warm white and be gone. It's just a little bit of, maybe a bit of residue from the mould actually. That's probably what you see. But the actual parts themselves are very, very nice. It's really clear, very bright. There we go. So, what do you think? What's the verdict going to be here? We have got quite a chunky big monster of a kit. It certainly does, and I'm trying to think what these cost. I think they're about £44, something like that. And really, pretty good value for money. Again, the ICM kits are, they're really, what they deliver for the pound is really, really good. So I'm going to pop that back in there, get it going for me. There's a knack to this, isn't there? Somebody told me a few weeks ago what to do with these. You just fold it back and then go straight in theory. See if it'll work for us. It did work. There we are. all back and good. Look at that, like it was never open. Perfect. So, time to put it back in its box. Put it back in the final box and it won't be coming out again because it's a challenge to get it out. I promise you have to be very gentle, slip it over the top, that's the easy part. Closing it's actually quite straightforward. The opening is the challenge. Well, I think it's a beautiful kit, absolutely superb. Only criticism is that little fine, just very minor marks on the clear parts. I think it's a residue actually. I'm sure that'll be removed instantly with a quick wipe and a bit of a just a smear of polish will get rid of that. Other than that, yeah, there was one or two things about the markings, and because they're quite dark markings, I'm not sure that maybe they should try and lighten their printing a little bit. It seemed a bit hard to read, but really, can't say anything wrong with it. Obviously not built it, it's purely an inbox review, and there's no figures, which is, I think they really should put some figures in. So I'm going to give it 9.5, let's say 9.5, go on then, because I think that's a beautiful kit, especially for the money. Again, factoring in the price, beautiful Cobra, that really, you know, evocative of the Vietnam War, and I think it's an absolute stunner. I mean, if you build that, it's going to be bigger than the box, or as big as the box. Quite a lot of presents, you know, need some space for it. So there you go. I think that's, yeah, I was tempted to go to 9, but I think I'm maybe a little bit harsh. I think it's, when you think about what it costs, which isn't a lot, I think it's 9.5. I think it's 9.5. It's very, very good. They're getting the balance kind of right. You know, most of that is pretty much perfect, really. You know, and others are not getting that balance. They're getting part of it perfect, and other parts of it just downright awful. You know, people like Trumpeter and Great Wall Hobby and Border and all these other people that don't seem to understand. They need to have a proper description in the instructions. They need to have a clarity about what colours should be of the parts within the aircraft. ICM are doing this wonderfully well, and they're almost copying Tamiya, but building it to it's almost like an economy version of a Tamiya kit, which is fine. It's fine. You know, that's half the price of a typical 48 scale Tamiya kit, and it's about a third the price of a 1/32 scale Tamiya aircraft. So when you take it in the round and have a balanced view, it's very hard to fault it. So 9.5 out of 10. Excellent kit. Highly recommend that to anybody. And they brought out another version, haven't they now? There's a later version, which I can't remember the number, as was used in the Gulf War. Different type of cannon, different type of frontage. I'm sure that'll be just a few modifications with that different tail as well. What's not to like? Absolutely stellar kit. Recommended to you very highly indeed. Hope you'll recommend me with a thumbs up. Thank you very much. And don't forget, if you haven't subscribed already, you should do so. And then you get to see all these other many similar style of videos, and some other things as well, like aircraft flying about and all sorts of other things. Please also remember to ding the notification bell, because if you haven't done that already, you'll miss out, or maybe not get the early notice you would hope to get when another one of these gets uploaded for your entertainment. So thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate your time, and please tune in again soon. And in the meantime, I'll just say to you, thank you very much for your time. Hope you enjoyed the vid. Please take care of yourselves. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.